organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Tonight on Daily Iowan TV, we've got an exclusive interview with a DC resident who was less than a mile away from the Navy Yards shooting.
And we break down how the Voyager hits close to home in Iowa City.
And in sports,
the top 5 plays of the 2013 Hawkeye football season.
All that and much more is coming your way next.
Daily Iowan TV starts now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Hello and welcome to your Tuesday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Mary LaPlaca.
And I'm Kara Bimschlager. The Washington Navy Yard shooting Monday leaves the official death count at 13. 12 victims lost their lives in the attack, and the shooter, now identified by the FBI as 34-year-old military contractor Aaron Alexis, has also been pronounced dead. Government buildings in D.C. were on lockdown yesterday, but today Daily Iowan TV news director Reed Chandler spoke on the phone with a former Daily Iowan TV reporter, now interning in D.C. Reed, let's toss it over to you.
Hey guys, we have a former Daily Iowan TV reporter now interning with the Houston Chronicle in D.C. speaking with us tonight. Allie Wright was Daily Iowan TV's news director in the spring of 2013, and she told me she was less than a mile away from the scene of the shooting on Monday. She told me social media played into how she found out. Here's what she had to say to me over the phone earlier.
The shootings on Facebook when I woke up yesterday morning and didn't really think anything of it just because there's a lot of different things that happen in a big city, so I guess I didn't really think about it too much until I was walking to the train station and I got a text from my mom and she was asking if I was okay and if I had seen anything, and I didn't really know what she was talking about. And then I saw 2 armed police officers at the train station near my house, which is really uncommon.
She also told me the unsafe feeling in the area has calmed down now that the one suspect has been identified and is now dead.
At least in what I've seen, it hasn't really seemed any different than any other day. I know that the investigation is still going on in Navy Yard, but I haven't seen anything about that. There was still some police presence, obviously, in the city, but not as much as yesterday that I noticed. And personally, I don't feel unsafe or anything in my neighborhood, even though it is still so close to that area.
So there's an account of yesterday's events from someone so close to it all. Thanks again, Allie. And our thoughts go out to all who have suffered from this tragedy. Back to you guys.
Last Thursday, NASA's Voyager 1 made history by reaching interstellar space for the first time. We have Daily Iowan TV reporter Stacey Murray with the story on how the University of Iowa was connected to the big moment.
This is the sound of history being made 11.6 billion miles from the sun. Last Thursday, scientists announced the Voyager 1 aircraft crossed into interstellar space this past spring, meaning a man-made aircraft had left the solar system for the first time, sending that signal back to Earth. But even as Voyager 1 exited the solar system, it felt closer to home for 2 University of Iowa professors. Dr. Don Gurnett worked on the receivers aboard Voyager 1 before its launch in 1977, and Dr. Bill Kurth later joined the team. Officials are just now concluding they have enough evidence to support this spring's claims, and both professors have been waiting decades to hear the news.
I knew we were in interstellar space, just like that.
This scientific advancement seems to have endless possibilities for the future.
For mankind to actually send a spacecraft, a robot if you will, beyond the influence of the sun to interstellar space, the stuff of stars that we're all made of.
This advancement is part of a scientific tradition at the university that started with James Van Allen, the man behind the name of Van Allen Hall.
Dr. James Van Allen was only a part of the original concept of Voyager. His graduate assistants lived on to see their work enter a new medium. And perhaps their graduate assistants working on top of Van Allen Hall will be a part of the next great astronomical discovery. Stacey Murray, Daily Iowan TV.
And those graduates say that they are anxiously waiting to see what will come from their work.
And today marks the anniversary of the signing of the United States Constitution. Exactly 226 years ago, the document was signed and made official. To honor this anniversary, a group of Army cadets read the document to students and visitors at the IMU. For UI junior Leah Mullenix, the reading of the Constitution hit a personal note.
The Constitution, especially, I guess, as someone who has signed a contract to serve in the military, is something that is the basis for our nation and for the freedoms and rights that we have here, that I feel like, obviously, I have felt as an individual, I have a responsibility to defend. So that's why the Constitution definitely has a special place for me.
And along with the reading, many versions of the Constitution were handed out throughout the day at multiple Iowa City businesses.
Coming up next, students set to study abroad, why they want to go, coming up in Street Chatter.
And in sports, an interview with Iowa's newest head coach, Rick Heller.
But first, let's toss it over to Rebecca Sons, who's standing by with your local weather forecast. Rebecca, tell us what we can expect this week.
Hey Mary and Carol, the weather may be dreary as of recently, but there's some sunshine on the way later in the week. But first, let's get that rain out of the way. Tomorrow morning, we will start out at 72 degrees with a 50% chance of rain throughout the day. Now, by the afternoon time, the temperature will get up to 88 degrees and then back down to 79 tomorrow night. As we move on into the 6-day forecast, there's a whole lot of rain for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now, Wednesday will reach a high of 88 degrees, Thursday a high of the week at 90, and back down to a low of 70s for the end of the week and into the weekend. Skies will clear for Saturday and Sunday, but then clouds will return on Monday with a high of 79. That's the latest weather forecast. Stay tuned for our Around the World segment coming up next.
Thanks, Rebecca. Now let's take a look at what is happening outside of Iowa. The recent fire that ravaged the Jersey Shore boardwalk was revealed to be caused by faulty wiring. Hurricane Sandy damaged the wiring last October and is blamed for the accidental crossing of wires. The fire destroyed over 50 businesses in Seaside Park and Seaside Heights.
And a gunman in Austria killed 4 people today. Among those killed were 3 police officers and an ambulance driver. Police stormed the building that he was hiding in after a 12-hour standoff, but there is no official word whether he was caught or not.
And even though America's economy is improving, the poverty rate remains the same. Last year's rate was stuck at 15%, which means 1 in every 7 people are living in poverty. Some experts are discouraged by the lack of improvement.
And now we'll toss it over to Jordan Cabialis and Whitney Blakemore, who's standing by in the Daily Iowan Sports Studio with everything you need to know about black and gold. Take it away, guys.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio.
We're doubling up on today's edition of the program. Alongside Miss Whitney Blakemore, I'm Jordan Cabialis. 2 coaches on the program tonight as well, with one of the longest tenured Hawks, Kirk Ferentz, stepping to the mic after his squad's 2nd consecutive victory. And one of the Black and Gold's newest additions to the coaching fraternity, Rick Heller, sitting down to meet with our own Jalen Socek later in the program.
But we start tonight's show with the top 5 plays of the very young 2013 football season. Jordan, do you want to kick things off?
Absolutely. Coming in at number 5, how about Iowa linebacker James Morris? Second quarter of Saturday's game against the Cyclones, intercepting Sam Richardson of Iowa State. 2nd straight year with an interception against the rivals.
Coming in at number 4, Rudock scrambles, uses his feet, and hurdles over the defender to score against Missouri State to help the Hawks snap a 7th game losing streak. He already has 4 rushing touchdowns on the year.
Coming in at number 3, how about Jake Hillier with this 26-yard touchdown reception from Jake Rudock on Saturday against the Cyclones. Makes up for some drop passes earlier in the game.
We're double dipping here at number 2. On the left, it's the flea flicker. On the right, Christian Kirksey's huge fumble recovery for a touchdown. Both the lone bright spots in Iowa's loss against Northern Illinois.
Coming in at number 1, you know what's coming. ESPN didn't have it in their top 10, but we know better. B.J. Lowry, airborne to intercept Iowa State and ices a 27-21 victory over the Cyclones.
Some spectacular stuff through the first couple weeks on the gridiron, but always room for improvement. Head coach Kirk Ferentz addressing exactly that this afternoon in front of members of the media at his weekly press conference.
Among the things the head Hawk discussed, former Hawk A.J. Derby's start at Arkansas, his squad's defensive big play woes, and the ongoing theft investigation from Iowa State this past weekend. You can read more on everything said at the Hayden Fry Sports Complex in tomorrow's pages of the Daily Iowan.
And as we mentioned, Ferentz not the only head coach on the program tonight. Gary Barta's newest hire, Rick Heller, made his debut as the Iowa baseball manager Monday night. Our own Jalen Socek caught up with the first-year man.
Jalen Socek here with the new face of Iowa baseball, head coach Rick Heller. Now, Rick, thank you for being here today. As a native of Eldon, Iowa, former head coach of Upper Iowa and UNI, and most recently the head coach over at Indiana State, how does it feel to be back in Iowa?
Oh, it feels great. It's been a lot of fun. It's exciting. A lot of friends and family. A lot of nice cards and letters from people that are happy for me, and I can't even begin to tell you how happy I am to be back.
And at both Upper Iowa and UNI, you're kind of credited with turning both those programs around. Here, the Iowa baseball team has kind of struggled for some time. How do you approach turning around yet another program?
Well, we're going to come in and put our system in, which it revolves around hustle and energy and working hard and doing a good job on and off the field. And I think we do a really nice job with player development, and we'll instill our system there. And I think we've got a good group of kids to start with, and so we're excited to get going.
You also interviewed for the head coach when former head coach Jack Dahm was hired. What's the difference between the coach that sits here today than the coach that interviewed 10 years ago?
Well, I've obviously grown as a coach, and going through the dropping of baseball at UNI was a hard thing, but also made me tougher, made me better. Having the opportunity to coach at Indiana State, who had a good tradition, great tradition, and to go down there and be able to have the success that we had, it forced me outside my comfort zone. It forced me to learn different things, do different things, and I just think 10 years older and more experienced and going through a lot of what I went through in those 10 years has made me a better coach.
And let's talk about Dwayne Banks Field. It was built in 1974. It had a minor facelift back in 2010 where they resurfaced the field, added some batting cages. With other Big Ten programs such as Indiana and Minnesota, who just built brand new stadiums, has there been a conversation between you and Athletic Director Gary Barta about possible upgrades in the future?
Yeah, no question. We have a nice field, but it needs some improvements to catch up with the rest of the Big Ten, and it's really just happened here in the last 3 or 4 years with the facility improvements across the league. We need to win some more. I mean, that'll help. When you win, the people will come out, and obviously playing in the north and playing in Iowa, the weather dictates a lot of it and how many fans that we have. But I think if we put a good product on the field and we play a good brand of baseball, which I believe we will, that we will definitely be able to improve our attendance.
Once again, the new head coach of the University of Iowa baseball team. Rick, thank you again for being here today, and we wish you and the team the best luck in the future.
Thank you very much.
Guys, back to you in the studio.
Unfortunately, that's going to do it for us here tonight. A whole lot more on tap Wednesday. But for now, Mary, Kara, it's back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Jordan. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get an exclusive look into what you'll see in Wednesday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Read about the possible new high-rise that could be added to Iowa City.
And see what Iowa Democrat Jack Hatch has to say for the upcoming governor elections.
Well, that's your Tuesday edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to watch us tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.